guys, and welcome back to my kitchen. But in case this is the first time you're stopping by, my name is Gina and I'm a wife and mother from the Midwest, and I enjoy cooking fresh meals for my family, and sometimes I make videos of my recipes and I post them here on YouTube. Today we are going to be doing another addition to our Cooking with Corona quarantine cooking series, another simple pantry meal. We're going to be making pasta fazool is what we call it here, or at least in my family, but I know it's also called pasta e fagioli in Italian, which basically stands for, or translates to, pasta with beans. So this is a very simple soup, but it's hearty and delicious. You get protein, vegetarian, vegan protein from beans. You get your starch from the pasta, and then it's got a good dose of veggies in there. I like to serve it with some hot crusty bread and some butter, and it makes for a nice warming meal in a bowl. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our ingredients. And the first thing I wanted to say is this version that I'm making is definitely simplified. I mean, there's obviously additional vegetables you could add in, but this is very traditional and simple. And I'm using the stuff that I have on hand. So I'm not using the traditional kind of pasta that I would prefer. And anyways, we'll get into that as I go item by item. So without further ado, so for our pasta today, I couldn't find ditalini at the store. They didn't actually have any at all. So I am using this farfaline, which I happen to have, which is just basically a very small, I'm not on live focus video, I will switch that for the next segment, a very small bow tie pasta. So basically you can use any type of small pasta that you have on hand, and this is about 6 ounces or almost a cup of pasta. We are going to be, let me put you on pause and switch this video format because this is not focusing right. Hang on, guys. Okay, hopefully that is better. So, you get a healthy dose of veggies. We're going to be using a standard Mirepoix, which is French for carrots, celery, and onions. And you can use whatever kind of onions you have. You could probably even use red onions in this recipe and it wouldn't matter. So I'm using 2 small yellow onions. These are very small, just so you can see like in my hand for reference. But if it was a large onion, you would just need 1. I'm going to be using 2 carrots and 2 pieces of celery, but you could add more or less of any of them, honestly, whatever you and your family prefer. We're going to be using some garlic, and I'll just have to see as I chop it up, but I'll probably be using 3 or 4 cloves of fresh garlic. Then our base of our soup is going to be some chicken broth or chicken stock, whatever you have on hand, or you could use Nor Suiza and water, but this is 4 cups. I have 2 cups of water here, and then I have these all-purpose crushed tomatoes, and if you can find this brand Cento, I really, really like the tomatoes, and maybe it's because I always loved watching that Lydia, the Italian cook, on Channel 11 when I was a kid, and she always talked about how important it was for you to find good quality tomatoes. And I know these aren't organic, but this is what was available at the store right now. And also, I mean, sometimes I just can't afford organic. Organic is really expensive, and food is really expensive right now. So I just try to buy the best quality food that I can buy for the price. And I really like these tomatoes. So you can use any brand of crushed tomatoes, or you could use tomato sauce, or you could use diced tomatoes in the can. Just basically, you need some type of a tomato product in a can to give your soup some tomato flavor, and it kind of makes the broth a little bit thicker. I would not recommend using tomato paste because tomato paste is very condensed, and on its own without other tomato products has kind of a canned flavor, so just don't use tomato paste. You could add tomato paste in addition to this, but don't do it by itself. Anyways, then a can of white beans, and you could use Great Northern beans or cannellini beans. If you only have dry beans, you can definitely soak them and you could boil them right into soup. But I'm not going to talk about that because I'm not doing it and I have never done it. So I don't know what the boiling time would be inside of the soup. So I can't advise you as to that. But I like, for all different kinds of beans, Goya is my favorite brand. I feel like I'm losing my voice and it's freaking me out because I just went to Target and I wore a mask. But now I feel like my voice sounds weird. So comment below if you think I sound weird, guys. I don't want to get the Rona. But in regards to Goya, anyways, the reason I like this is, I don't know if you've ever seen the commercials where they talk about the amount of beans you get in the can. And literally Goya is almost totally full of beans and very little packing liquid, whereas other different brands you'll get like half water and half beans. So this is really, really worth the extra like 25 cents a can. And I buy Goya for all of my different types of beans. So there's my 2 cents on that. And then lastly, to season everything up, we're just going to use some salt and pepper, of course, and then parsley, basil, and oregano. But you could use Italian seasoning, like the premixed blend, if that's all you have. And I'm going to probably use like a teaspoon each. So you could use like a tablespoon of Italian seasoning if that's what you have. Or you can just season it up however you like. It's totally up to you. And then last but not least, we're going to be serving with this Parmesan and Romano cheese because this is all that I have right now. Normally, when I would cook this, I would like to throw in the rind of a fresh Parmigiano Reggiano wheel. It adds a lot of flavor to the soup. It's extra delicious, but this is all I have right now. So we'll just be putting this on in the finishing stage. So my friend Nicole will be happy because she hates Parmesan cheese and she was excited about this recipe. So I think you totally jinxed me on the Parmesan, Nicole. Because this is all I have. So we'll just be using this to serve it. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and peel and slice my carrots, dice my celery, and my onions. And I will be back in a second when we're ready to throw this stuff in the pan. Side note, I forgot to put out the oil as usual. So I'm going to be using extra virgin olive oil today. I'm adding this short clip to remind you that I forgot to add a bay leaf to our list of ingredients. So we are going to be using a bay leaf later in the video. So make sure to include bay leaves in your list of ingredients. All right, guys. So I did want to throw it out there. I ended up taking out another rib of celery. So this is 3 total chopped up. But you could do it with 2. It's not a big deal. In traditional Mirepoix, you're supposed to have like similar amounts of carrot, celery, and onion. And just for the sake of accuracy, I added an extra one. So I thought I should mention that. This is the size that I went with. I would say that this is like a rustic size. Not super huge and like country style, but definitely not a fine dice or anything like that. So just, you know, a nice size to fit on your spoon. These are going to wilt down. For the celery, I split them in half and then just went ahead and chopped them. I did add a bunch of olive oil to this pan. I feel like olive oil definitely gives this soup a lot of its flavor to have that healthy fat. So I'm using more than I would normally use for frying, probably about 2 tablespoons of oil. And then now I'm going to go ahead and dump all of this into the pan and let me put the phone down so I don't burn my hand. Sorry, guys. All right. So, get everybody mixed around. This is my favorite dish for making soups. It's like a casserole style pot that came in my Costco set that my husband bought me when we first got married. And they're completely stainless steel, and unfortunately they don't sell them anymore. So I don't think we can get them, but they were really nice. I'm just going to take a healthy pinch of salt because, as I've mentioned many times before, as you sweat your vegetables, you want to add some salt and pepper, A, to season everything on the way up, and B, because adding salt at this stage helps the vegetables to release their water more quickly, resulting in you needing to saute them for less time. So there is our salt. Do a little bit of pepper. And then I wanted to ask you guys, I've had a couple of people on Instagram who are my followers from here, from my YouTube channel, tell me that they would like to see me more in videos. So if you guys want me to like start doing the introduction to the recipe, like as a selfie shot, I guess, let me know if that's important to you. I didn't think that was, but if you want to know more about what I look like, I mean, I guess I can jump on there for you guys. Not a big deal. All right, I'm gonna let this go for about 5 to 7 minutes, just until these onions are translucent, and I'll be back, okay? All All right, guys, so get it nice and close. I wanted to show you. I let this actually go a little bit. Like, I like the veggies to kind of get a little bit of caramelization on the onions and the carrots because it adds a lot of flavor to the soup because this is a very plain and simple soup. So let's go ahead and stir that around. If you like spicy, a little bit of red pepper flake in here while you're sauteing would be great. What, Olivia? You want some water? Can you just say please?
Please, Mom.
Sure, babe. A little bit of red pepper flake would be nice. And let me put you on hold for 2 seconds because nobody wants to see me get water for Olivia. Okay, so anyways, what I wanted to mention before I add my garlic is this is why it is important to not add your garlic at the same time as your veggies because garlic cooks way faster than vegetables. And it would definitely burn, and garlic is very bitter when you burn it. So get your nice little bit of caramelization on your veggies before you add your garlic. I am so sorry for the noise. We're redoing our bathroom, and my husband is in there for some reason deciding to use the multi-tool on the tile right now while I'm making a video. So if you wonder what that noise is, that's what it is. Try to scoop this up. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and stir fry this garlic for a moment until it's nice and fragrant. Just to cook off a little bit of that raw garlic flavor. And then we're going to go ahead and start adding in, oh, I have it on low. I lowered down the heat when I got Olivia her water. So let's let this come back up for a second. I have always, like my whole life, liked to cook with wooden spoons because my mom always did when I was a kid. What do you guys like to cook with? Post it down there in the comments. Alright, so this is good to go. So I'm going to be adding in my chicken stock, chicken broth, whatever you want. You could also use vegetable broth if you wanted to keep this vegan and vegetarian. My sister's a vegetarian, but she eats soup that has chicken broth in it. So I don't know if that's vegetarian or not, but I know that she's going to have some of this. So she's been a vegetarian since she was 3. Which is a true story for another time. But if you're interested in finding out more about my sister, who she is or what she looks like, you should jump over to her channel and check it out. It is a family lifestyle based channel called Fin Family Fun. F-I-N, Family Fun, all one word. Okay, now I'm going to add, this is roughly 2 cups. Like I literally just filled up this cup. I don't know if it's actually 2 cups, but start with 2 cups. We might add a little bit more later. Not entirely sure. And then this can is 28 ounces. I'm going to use about half of this right now. And then I will actually just be freezing the rest in a bag and labeling it and putting it in the freezer because these are like, look at these tomatoes. Let's see if we can get some natural light on here for you guys. These are really gorgeous tomatoes. Like they're really nice consistency. They smell good. The only ingredients are, where's Ethan? We'll find Ethan in a minute. The only ingredients are vine-ripened crushed tomatoes, and that is what you're looking for. So I'm going to dump half of this can in there and save the rest for later. And that looks good. And then I went ahead and pre-measured out the rest of our ingredients. So in here I have a teaspoon of parsley. Hang on. Just wait for him to stop. A teaspoon of parsley, a teaspoon of basil, a little bit under a teaspoon of oregano because this is a brand new package of an oregano and they tend to be very strong, oregano. I don't know why I said they. Oregano tends to be very strong. I have a half of a teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm going to go ahead and just dump that all in here. And then we are going to taste for salt later. And we might add more. But we just got to wait and see because our tomatoes are unsalted and so is this chicken stock. So Always be careful. You can always add chicken or add salt in, but you cannot take it out. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained because all the noise has me a little bit stressed out. I'm going to go ahead and drain my kidney beans, or my cannellini beans, and I'll be back. Okie dokie, so I have raised up my heat, and I have just brought this to a simmer. I'm going to continue to let this, come further to a low boil, because we are going to be boiling pasta. I went ahead and I drained off my cannellini beans, and as I mentioned before, you could use cannellini, you could use navy, you could use garbanzo beans, you could use dark red kidney beans is good in this, you could use a mix of beans, it's totally up to you. You could skip pasta, you could, I've even in certain recipes seen where people actually take these the cannellini beans and blend them with like a cup of the water. So that way you just get a nice thick broth on your soup instead of actually having whole beans in it. So if your kids don't like it, that's a good way to get some beans in them, that additional protein without them knowing that they're in there. But anyways, that's what I've got here. So I've got my drained and rinsed beans, and then I've got my farfaline, and then I have my bay leaf, which I forgot to mention in the ingredients, but I'm going to put a little clip back there, so that's why I'm adding this in right now. So I'm going to go ahead and dump all of this in the pot. And then once this is returned to a boil, we're just going to let this simmer for probably like 20 minutes or so. And then I'll check to see that the pasta is cooked al dente, and then we're basically done, and we'll just taste for seasoning and we'll serve it up. So I'm going to actually add a few shakes of Parmesan in here because I like to have a Parmesan rind in there usually, but you could feel free to skip this step. So I would say I probably just added like 1/8 of a cup, which is like 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to go ahead and stir that in, because if you don't stir Parmesan in, and it'll sink to the bottom and it will burn. So I'm going to make sure it's melty. This looks pretty thin right now, but that pasta is going to really thicken up our water because it's going to be a very starch-rich water. And you'll see that the consistency of the soup will change slightly, and this is just going to become unctuous and delicious, and I'm actually very excited about it. 2 people have inspired me to make this, actually. One is my girlfriend, Asima. I actually have one of her recipes here on my channel, the Bosnian stuffed peppers, which are so to die for if you've not made them. But she posted a picture of this on her Instagram, so I decided to make my version of it. And then I also have chatted at length about this recipe with a girl from high school who's my friend on the internet named Susie. And she makes this all the time, but I think she makes hers from dried beans, and she also includes ham and or a ham bone, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure, but I've urged her to make her own videos because it sounds delicious, and it sounds like she's a very talented home cook as well. So if she ever ends up making a video and posting it, I'll definitely come back here and I'll tag it. So anyways, this is coming to a low boil. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for a minute. We'll be back when it's ready. Okay, guys, so it has been about 20 minutes, and this is ready to go. I've tasted the pasta to make sure that it's al dente, or to the tenderness that I prefer. And then I'm actually good on salt. So 1/2 teaspoon plus the seasoning on my veggies when I was sauteing them was good. But yours might be different depending on, what type of beans and chicken stock you use. So definitely be careful there. And then as you can see, this is a nice, thick, rich soup. I'm going to go ahead and get this plated up. I also made us a simple salad just with tomato and cucumber. And I've got some crusty bread toasting in there. So I'll be back with the taste test. All right, guys, here is our finished product, which I'm pretty excited about. This looks delicious. We have our soup. I serve it, as I mentioned, with Parmesan cheese on top. I don't know why my video is not focusing very well. Let's clean off the camera. There we go. So I guess we're going to go ahead and get a taste test and see if Daniel likes it. He's not a huge fan of... You like it? Okay. He's not a huge fan of bean soups usually, but he likes it, so that's good news. And then what about you, Fief? Are you eating that soup over there? Do you like it? Yeah? I'm so happy.
I like it, because I'm not the other one like Fifi's.
It's the same soup, honey.
But they're not the same like Fifi's.
What do you want in it to make it the same? What is it missing?
Fifi eating that one, and they're not in mine.
There is definitely bow tie noodles in there. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and dig into this. I am pretty hungry. I hope you enjoyed my video on how I make pasta fazool here. I'd love to hear your additions or subtractions or what you guys make in your home in regards to this recipe, if there's anything different. And if you have these ingredients, go ahead and give it a try. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I totally appreciate you guys. Wait a second, Fifi. It makes my heart feel so warm to watch my channel grow and see you guys' comments, and just know that we're all connected, even though we are definitely apart right now through this weird time. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you loved it, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much for stopping by, and you have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Olivia, are you going to say bye?
Bye.
Are you eating the soup now?
But they're not like a bow tie.
It is. It is like a bow tie. All right, guys. Good night.
Like glasses.
They're like glasses.
Yeah.
You're so silly. Can you say good night to everybody?
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Hey, Fifi, guess what?
Guess what? Chicken.
Chicken butt.